Hi everyone, welcome to this new video in our series for RBI Grade B, that is A to Z series. In this series, we are discussing each and every aspect of RBI Grade B examination so that all your queries get answered at one single place. So far in this series, A for all about RBI Grade B, we have made two videos where we have discussed about vacancies, pattern eligibility and cutoffs. Then B for books, in part 1 we discussed about the books for phase 1, and again B for books in part 2 we are discussing about the books for phase 2. In case you want to access the full list of videos, you can access it through playlist, the link for which is given in the description of this video. Now why watch this video? There are a lot of videos on internet which already tells you about which books to follow, but there is a lot of difference between those videos and this videos. Those videos, yes, they tell you about the books, but this video will not only tell you about the books, this will also do chapter wise mapping of the syllabus and the chapters in these books. कि syllabus के कौन से part के लिए कौन सा chapter आपने किस book में पढ़ना है. This is given nowhere. Then I'll also be telling you about the websites and newspapers for the content which is not available in the books, correct edition of these books to read, pros and cons of reading these books, and if there is anything which is not available in these books or websites or newspapers, from where to read that from, that also we would be discussing. So we will be discussing about the books for ESI, FM and descriptive English one by one. Let's start with FM first. Before I start, I want to make you beware of the books in the RBI notification. I want to caution you that there are a lot of books mentioned for various subjects in RBI notification. Do not fall in trap of following them blindly. I'll just give you an example. For finance, there are so many books given here. Monetary Theory and Public Policy by Kenneth Kurihara, Indian Economy, Misha Puri, Economic Growth and Development by Mayer and Baldwin, and Prasanna Chandra's Financial Management. Now, all these authors are really good authors, masterclass authors, I would say. Their books are excellent, but still they are not relevant for you. Why? Let me explain you this with an analogy. Suppose you go to the market and buy a 10 kg atta. Now you want to transport this atta back home. Will you hire a auto or will you hire a big truck to transport this? Obviously an auto. Now that explains my logic. ये बुक्स जितनी भी फेमस हैं, जितनी भी अच्छी हैं, जितनी भी बड़ी हैं, बट दीज बुक्स आर नॉट रेलेवेंट फॉर यू. आप ज़रूरत से ज़्यादा पढ़ेंगे, यू विल नेवर बी एबल टू कंप्लीट योर सिलेबस. सो डू नॉट गो फॉर फेमस books, do not go for bulky books, rather go for relevant books, what suits your need. And how to find whether a book is relevant or not? Maybe you need not find whether a book is relevant for you or not, because I'm already doing it for you in this video. But how did I do it? Well, I use syllabus and PYQs to actually map कि किस book में syllabus का maximum part covered है. And even to make it better, relevant for you, what I did is that I complemented that understanding with the previous year questions. If the level of questions of previous years is kind of average, moderate or tough, and then deciding on that basis that which book is relevant for you will make it more easier for you to complete that book rather than reading something which is at a higher level or a lower level. So पूरी relevant books आपको बताई जाएंगी, पूरी research के साथ बताई जा रही हैं. So we will discuss the books for ESI, FM and descriptive English. That is the three papers which are there in your phase 2 exam. Let me start with FM first. Now FM is a combination of two subjects, finance and management. ठीक है, तो हम इनकी books different हैं, अलग अलग से डिस्कस करेंगे. Let me start with management first. Now, are there any books mentioned in the notifications for management? Yes, lots of them. Have you seen them? If you would have seen them, you would have realized by now that there are a lot of redundant books. For example, Stephen P. Robbins की दो books mentioned हैं. Now, first one is written in a foreign context, so you don't have to read it. But here they have partnered with Niharika Vora and they have written the book in the Indian context, which you shall be reading. Then there are two books on HRM. I am strongly against reading these books because HRM is not part of your syllabus. Then there are two books, rather four books on ethics. 1, 2, 3, 4. I would suggest that just read this one single book. Ethics is just one chapter in your management syllabus. It's not worth it reading four books for that. So these are the only two books which I'll suggest you to read out of the list given in the notification for management. Overall, if I want to give you complete list, one is Principles and Practices of Management by L.M. Prasad, 10th edition. Organizational Behavior by L.M. Prasad, 2021 edition. Do not be confused. These two books are by the same authors. You would have to read both of them. Then Business Ethics and Corporate Governance B.N. Ghosh, edition 1. As far as I know, there is only one edition of this book. And the fourth book is Organizational Behavior by Stephen P. Robbins and Niharika Vora, which I just explained you a while ago. 18th edition of these books. And all these books are available on Amazon, which you can buy easily. Now, how to use these books? Which part of your syllabus will get covered through which chapter of this book? तो मैनेजमेंट का जो सिलेबस है, the main parts have been highlighted in yellow here as an introduction to management as one of the main topic, personality, perception, motivation, like that. So if I want to map these parts of your syllabus to the chapters in the book, it would be something like this. To make your task easier, I have just named these books. As in this book, Principles and Practices of Management would be book number 1, Organizational Behavior would be book number 2, and Business Ethics and Corporate Governance would be book number 3. So introduction to management shall be done from chapter 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, 9, 14, 18, book 1. Yes, there are a lot of things to be read in this chapter. So there are a lot of chapters of book 1, that is this book. Then organizational behavior chapter 1, book 2. वो इसमें से पढ़ेंगे. Personality perception chapter 3 and 4, again organizational behavior. Motivation and leadership would be chapter 15 and 16 of book 1, this one. Emotional intelligence and interpersonal behavior would be chapter 7, 11 from organizational behavior, that is book 2. Conflict would be chapter 7 from book 2 again. Then organizational change and reinforcement would be chapter number 2 of book 2. Chapter number 20, sorry. Ethics would be unit 1 and 2 of book 3, that is this book. And corporate governance would be unit 3 of book 3, again this book. And communication would be chapter number 17 from book 1. So this is the mapping. आप इसको पढ़िए and always use PYQs, because within these chapters also there might be certain paragraphs or pages which might not be relevant for you. Previous year questions will help you better understand what I'm saying. And what are the pros and cons of these books? Say, all these books are written by Indian authors, so they have a very easy language. There are practice questions also in the end of book 1 and book 2. So that will give you little confidence if you're able to solve those questions. But there are a lot of cons of using these books. First of all, there are no exam type questions. Now in the exam, you get case study based questions, which are not available in these books. So just reading these books and not practicing those type of questions can be detrimental to your chances of getting selected. And moreover, you need to read certain material which might not be available in these books but have been asked or can be asked in your paper. So for that, you might need to use internet. I would suggest a website by the name Management Study Guide. Please follow that. And in these books, there is not much help in the descriptive writing component. I mean specific help for descriptive writing component. So for descriptive component, this is the fourth book which I've not discussed till now. Now this books ask you a lot of questions. This book give you a lot of case studies. This books give you a lot of questions even in the Indian context. So this book will help you prepare for your descriptive part. Apart from that, you can prepare some examples related to the concepts you are reading from the internet. For example, if you are reading about leadership, you can learn about who all leaders have been transactional leaders, who all leaders have been transformational leaders, like Bill Gates and Henry Ford. If you can write these examples in your answers, it would be really better. And please practice answer writing and get it evaluated. Now for practicing, there is no source. The only source is your pen and maybe your laptop and your keyboard. ठीक है, तो ये practice जरूर करनी है, but yes, learn examples and read this book, Organizational Behavior by Niharika Vora and Stephen P. Robbins. It will give you a lot of intellectual material to think upon, that how to approach the questions. Now there might be another question which is in your mind right now, that okay, books पता लग गई हैं, what is the strategy to read these books, as in what type of questions would be asked, what would be the depth of questions that would be asked in management. Well, I'll show you sample questions. We will talk about the type of questions, but not in this video. In the upcoming videos in ESI English and F for FM, I would be discussing a detailed strategy for ESI English and FM. So let's keep that for the future videos. Now let's try to discuss for finance. Are there any books mentioned in the notification for finance? The answer is yes. Long list, long list. Now again, if you see this we discussed earlier, there are a lot of irrelevant books here. Why? Because this is more than what you need. That is the only reason. Otherwise, these are very good authors. तो ये किताबें हमें नहीं पढ़नी है. I'll not suggest so. But yes, there are some good books, rather good things which are mentioned here in the suggested reference material. Financial newspapers, RBI annual report, report on trends and progress of banking in India, report on currency and finance. Very much you shall be reading it. Economic survey, yes. Material source from RBI website, yes. I'll explain what all this means, right, when I'm explaining about the books for finance. सबसे पहले फाइनेंस का थोड़ा पैटर्न देख लेते हैं. नाउ फाइनेंस इज वर्थ 50 marks because out of 100 another 50 marks is management. Finance earlier used to be static, uh, dominated, but now I would say the weightage of static and current has almost become 50-50%. So in the objective, which is kind of 25 marks out of 50, static and current would have a weightage of 12 marks approximately. In the descriptive, static might have a less weightage and current might have a more weightage of 15 marks. So overall, the weightage of current seems to be higher than static by 1 or 2 marks, but let's take it to be 50-50. So now we will discuss the books फॉर ऑल दीज एरियाज. ठीक है, यहाँ पे स्टैटिक का मतलब है थ्योरेटिकल, करंट का मतलब है करंट अफेयर्स. सिमिलरली डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चंस कैन बी बेस्ड ऑन स्टैटिक थ्योरी और इट कैन बी बेस्ड ऑन करंट अफेयर्स. So let's try to first discuss about objective static, that is finance preparation for your objective static part. तो objective static part के लिए I am suggesting you three books: Indian Economy and Financial System by Macmillan Education, ठीक है, 2023 edition. Principles and Practices of Banking, again by Macmillan Education, 2023 edition. And Accounting and Financial Management for Bankers, 2023 edition. Most of these topics can be, most of the topics in your syllabus can be done from these books, but I'll also be telling you that some topics need to be done from the internet. And all these books are available on Amazon. You can buy them easily. Now, what is your finance syllabus? This is your finance syllabus, which is given in the notification. Okay, some topics in the financial system, financial markets, and general topics. Now these are very well laid down, so there is no need to bifurcate them. ठीक है, यहाँ पे clearly नाम लिखे हुए हैं. Now let's see how to map these topics in the syllabus to the actual books that I've just suggested. So for your ease, I've again named the books. Indian Economy and Indian Financial System is book 1. Principles and Practices of Banking is book 2. And Accounting and Financial Management for Bankers would be book 3. So if I have to map your chapters in the syllabus, structure and functions of financial institutions, chapter 29 and 23 from book 1, that is this one. Okay, functions of RBI, chapter 27 from book 1. Banking system in India, chapter 21 and 22 from book 1. जल्दी से इसको note कर लीजिए, take a photo of this. Recent development in the global financial system. Now this is totally based on current affairs, no book can cover it. Role of IT in banking and finance, chapter 42, 47, 48, book number 2. That is, this book will help you cover this. Non-banking system is chapter number 25 in book 1. Development of digital payments is chapter 44, 46, 15, book 2. Yes, there are a lot of chapters which talk about digital payments. Then primary and secondary markets, equity markets, chapter 31, book 1. Money markets or debt markets, chapter 30, book 1. Then Forex market is chapter 33, book 1, and bonds is chapter 32, book 1. So all of your primary and secondary markets are getting covered in 31, 30, 33, 32. Then financial risk management, I would suggest you to read from internet. ठीक है, इसमें all you need to read is Basel norms and types of risk. Basics of derivatives is chapter 36 from book 1. Global financial markets and international banking is chapter 34, book 1. Financial inclusion is chapter 16, 36, 41, book 2. ठीक है, बुक 2 में से पढ़ना है. Alternate sources of finances, chapter 37, 38, book 1. Then private and social cost benefit is to be read from internet. I would suggest you that go to the website pppinIndia.government.in and read the FAQs. Many a times they're not updated, so check for that. But otherwise, these FAQs are very good source to get started. Corporate governance, I would say, read from internet. Some clauses of corporate governance can be referred from the company law also, but that would be too bulky. So read about the corporate governance maximum from the internet. That is the best way to read it. Union budget, I would say, mainly current affair based questions are asked from union budget. So highlights of budget which are on PIB, Press Information Bureau, that is the best source. Basics of accounting and financial statements. So there are a lot of chapters in book number 3. 1, 2, 3, 17, 12, 16, 20 in book 3, which will help you cover everything: income statement, balance sheet, ratios, and all that. Inflation, chapter 14, book 1. So this is a complete mapping. Nobody does this kind of detailed mapping, but I hope you will like it. Now, what are the pros of these books? Actually, if I want to tell you, I don't believe there is any pros in reading these books because the language in these books is not that good, not that explanatory. You will always struggle to understand what they're trying to say. So I'm not in favor of actually reading these books, but why then I am telling you these books? Because these books are the only source which actually covers the topic of your syllabus. Otherwise, you would have to completely rely on the internet. What are the cons of reading these books? Tough language, yes, बहुत टफ लैंग्वेज है इसमें जो मैंने अभी एक्सप्लेन किया. एंड एग्जाम टाइप क्वेश्चंस आर नॉट कवर्ड एट ऑल. सो आपका जो ये ऑब्जेक्टिव स्टेटिक पार्ट है ना, इसमें सबसे ज़्यादा दिक्कत यही है कि ये बुक्स में बहुत टफ लैंग्वेज है. दो एग्जाम टाइप क्वेश्चंस मे बी यू कैन हैंडल बाय डूइंग सम मॉक टेस्ट एंड ऑल, बट टफ लैंग्वेज से आपको चीज़ें समझ ही नहीं आएंगी आप एप्लीकेशन क्या करेंगे. So that was about objective static. Now moving on to the objective current, how to prepare for objective current part. In the objective current, now I'll take you back to the suggested reference material where they have mentioned about major financial newspapers, RBI annual report, report on trends and progress of banking in India, report on currency and finance, economic survey. So all these I mentioned here actually in a table. So when they say material sourced from RBI website, they actually mean RBI notifications. RBI website पे notifications करके tab है ऊपर मेन्यू में, वहीं से notifications पढ़नी है. Then SEBI regulations is another area which can be asked in your finance current affairs objective part. So for that, go for SEBI website and or keep following alignment. Union budget and economic survey, it is best to follow the summary or highlights which are given on PIB. RBI annual report. Now this part, RBI annual report, currency and finance report, financial stability report, and reports on trends and progress of banking industry in India. All this can be covered from RBI website. So I think all this will help you cover a lot of current affairs. And if you cover all this, I'm sure that you will get really good marks in your current affairs part in your exam in the finance objective. Now, what about the descriptive part? Now there can be static questions or current affair based questions in the descriptive part. Let's see about the descriptive static. Do you need to follow any other book for descriptive static? No, other than what I told you for objective static? The answer is no. Whatever books I told you for objective static, the same books will help you understand the descriptive static also, will help you write the descriptive answers also. तो यही बुक्स के बेस पे आपने लिखना है, बट लिखने की प्रैक्टिस करनी है, क्योंकि लिखने की प्रैक्टिस से लिखना आएगा, ना कि किताबें पढ़कर. एंड फॉर द करंट पार्ट इन डिस्क्रिप्टिव व्हाट टू फॉलो. सो यहाँ पे बहुत क्लियर कट मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, अगर आप ये नहीं करेंगे यू विल नॉट गेट गुड मार्क्स इन योर डिस्क्रिप्टिव. एडिटोरियल्स इन लाइममेंट एंड इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स, ये दो न्यूज़पेपर्स में यू वुड हैव टू फॉलो एडिटोरियल्स प्लस रिपोर्ट्स. रिपोर्ट्स मतलब जो ये रिपोर्ट्स मैंने बताई ना, यूनियन बजट, इकोनॉमिक सर्वे, आरबीआई एनुअल रिपोर्ट, करेंसी एंड फाइनेंस रिपोर्ट, ये सारी रिपोर्ट्स जो मैंने बताई, क्वेश्चंस इन योर एग्जाम कैन बी आस्क्ड फ्रॉम दीज रिपोर्ट्स इन योर डिस्क्रिप्टिव पार्ट. एंड स्पीचेस एट द आरबीआई वेबसाइट, आरबीआई वेबसाइट पे गवर्नर्स, डिप्टी गवर्नर्स की स्पीचेस हैं, उनको भी पढ़ना है. नाउ व्हाई आई एम टेलिंग यू टू फोकस ऑन एडिटोरियल्स, लेट मी एक्सप्लेन. इन 2024 देयर वाज अ क्वेश्चन ऑन वैल्यू वर्सेस ग्रोथ इन्वेस्टिंग. अब ये लाइव मिंट में से आया है डायरेक्टली उसके एडिटोरियल से. देयर वाज वन मोर क्वेश्चन ऑन 81 बॉन्ड्स. नाउ दिस इज फ्रॉम इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स. तो मतलब हमें इधर उधर नहीं भागना है. वी नो दी सोर्सेज, वी जस्ट हैव टू फॉलो देम एंड इट वुड बी वर्थ इट, ट्रस्ट मी. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, रिपोर्ट्स जो मैंने बताया यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन नहीं मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूँ, बट रिपोर्ट्स में से क्वेश्चन आते हैं, स्पीचेस में से क्वेश्चन आते हैं, तो इनको छोड़िएगा मत. और ये हमारी एक डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चंस की सीरीज है जहां पे हम करंट अफेयर बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस कराते हैं, पर्सपेक्टिव 360 डिग्री. आप इसको जरूर देखिए, इसमें हम फ्री एवेल्युएशन भी देते हैं. ठीक है, तो आप इस सीरीज को जरूर फॉलो कीजिए. राइट योर आंसर्स, put that in the comment section and we will do free evaluation for you. So that was about FM. Now moving on to descriptive English. Let's finish it because it's a very small part. Descriptive English में what is your syllabus? Descriptive English में the syllabus says that they will give you a essay, they will give you a précis, and they will ask you a comprehension based questions. तो ये तीन areas हैं जहाँ पे they will ask you questions as per syllabus, right? There are no sources mentioned, कोई भी books sources नहीं mentioned है. So descriptive English की what we shall be reading. So remember one thing, descriptive English में it's more about the skill. That is how do you write, and this you can learn through some videos, not by reading any book. Which videos? There is a playlist on our YouTube channel, Descriptive English. ठीक है, आप हमारे YouTube चैनल पे जाइए, वहाँ पे प्लेलिस्ट मिलेगी आरबीआई नबार्ड सेबी के लिए. वी हैव टॉट यू डिस्क्रिप्टिव इंग्लिश, वहाँ से पढ़िए, प्रैक्टिस कीजिए. Even after watching the videos, you will not be a pro in writing unless and until you practice. And go to the Grammarly website. Whatever you practice, you type. Go to the Grammarly website, paste it there, and it will show you all your errors, punctuation, grammatical, spelling. So it will help you in the evaluation of what you write. स्किल के साथ कंटेंट भी चाहिए. कंटेंट के लिए आई वुड सजेस्ट यू कीप रीडिंग एडिटोरियल्स इन द हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर. दैट इज द बेस्ट सोर्स. And most of the times the essays and the précis they ask are from the newspapers. So editorials are the best source to take your content to the next level. But skill is something you shall be improving a lot. You shall be working a lot on this. Now let's move on to the last paper, that is ESI. Now, are there any books mentioned in the notification for ESI? Yes, a lot of them. Indian Economy by Kapila, Misha Puri, Growth and Development by Debraj Ray, Sociology by Shian Shankar Rao, Public Finance by K.N. Endley and Sundaram. Oh, no. Do not read all these books. At the maximum, you can read this book, which I would be suggesting you, but do not read any other book. Why? Again, they are not that relevant, though they are very good books, but there is much easier way to read what you require for the exam than following these books. पढ़ना है तो पढ़ लीजिए, but मेरे हिसाब से जो easy books हैं वो पढ़िए, ठीक है. But yes, the part which is really important for you is to focus on this one. They have asked you to read prominent financial newspapers, magazines, periodicals, bulletins, including RBI bulletins and economic and political weekly, reports on World Development Report, Economic Survey of India, RBI Annual Report. So all this is something which is very important, and this is what I would be telling you to read later from the notification. लेकिन ये वाला नहीं, यहाँ से सिर्फ सी एन शंकर राव की एक किताब ही पढ़नी है. सो ESI का भी अगर आई ट्राई टू एक्सप्लेन यू द ओवरऑल ढांचा, द स्ट्रक्चर. ESI static is 25% in your exam and 75% is current overall. If I try to bifurcate that into objective and descriptive, 50 marks objective paper, 50 marks descriptive paper. Out of this objective 50 marks, static would be 5 marks or maybe 0. Sometimes it is 0. So, but I am still taking 5 marks कि कभी कभी डाल देते हैं. Current affairs will have a major weightage of 45 marks. In your descriptive section again, current affairs से ज़्यादा क्वेश्चन आएंगे, but there would be questions from the static part also. ठीक है. अब कभी कभार ये 10 नंबर का भी आ सकता है, ये 40 मार्क्स का आ सकता है करंट, ठीक है. बट स्टिल आई एम टेकिंग समथिंग विच हेल्प यू प्रिपेयर इन अ होलिस्टिक मैनर, ताकि आप स्टैटिक को भी हैंडल कर लो, करंट को भी हैंडल कर लो. सो लेट अस फर्स्ट ट्राई टू कवर the sources for objective static. So I'll tell you 3 books which will help you cover the static part for your ESI objective. Indian Economy by Ramesh Singh, very good book, followed by most of the UPSC aspirants, 15th edition. Now this is the same book, Indian Economy and Indian Financial System, which I referred you for Finance, 2023 edition, and Sociology by C.N. Shankar Rao, 7th edition. These 3 books will be sufficient. Now what is the syllabus of ESI? तो ये syllabus है. Growth and Development is 1 unit, Indian Economy is 2nd unit, Globalization is 3rd unit, and Social Structure in India, that is about the social issues, is the 4th unit. Now how to map the topics given in these units to the chapters in the books? So that is what I would be doing. For ease, Ramesh Singh would be book 1, Indian Economy and Indian Financial System would be book 2, and Sociology would be book 3. So Measurement of Growth, chapter 1 and 2, book 1, that is Ramesh Singh's book. Poverty Alleviation and Employment Generation. Now this, I would say that it's better to read it from VK Puri and SK Mishra book 41st edition. I have not mentioned this book here, that's why I have put it in red. तो आप ये बुक ले सकते हैं 41st edition of Indian Economy by VK Puri, chapter 11, 12 and 15. Sustainable Development and Environmental Issues, chapter 19, book 1. इकोनॉमिक हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंडिया चैप्टर 4, 5, 6 बुक 1. ठीक है, सारे बुक 1 से चल रहे हैं. फिस्कल पॉलिसी एंड मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट चैप्टर्स, चैप्टर 17 and 18 of book 1 and chapter 12 of book 1. Opening up of the Indian economy and balance of payments, chapter 15 book 1. International economic institutions, chapter 16 book 1. तो पूरी economics book 1 में से ही चल रही है. Regional economic cooperation, a part of it would be given in the book 1, but I would suggest you to read it comprehensively from the website of ASEAN, SAARC, SCO. ठीक है, क्योंकि ये ही मेन एंटिटीज हैं जो रीजनल इकोनॉमिक कॉपरेशन में काउंट की जाती है, तो इनकी वेबसाइट पे जाके ही आप पढ़ लीजिए. इंडस्ट्रियल एंड लेबर पॉलिसी, इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट, चैप्टर 9 बुक 1. इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर, चैप्टर 8 बुक 1. सर्विसेज सेक्टर इन इंडिया, चैप्टर 10 बुक 1. Export import policy, again it would be available in Ramesh Singh, but I would suggest you to read it from no एक्जिम की वेबसाइट पे जाके आप पढ़ लीजिए. ये मतलब एक्जिम की वेबसाइट नहीं है, बट investmentindia.government.in एक्जिम, यहाँ पे काफ़ी अच्छे से आपको चीज़ें टर्स वे में, कॉम्पैक्ट वे में मिल जाएंगी. पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमी, नाउ इसके लिए आपको कोई पूरी पॉलिटी नहीं बननी है, जस्ट फॉलो ब्रिटानिका. ठीक है, कहीं से भी मतलब इंटरनेट से पढ़ लीजिए थोड़ा बहुत, ये ज़्यादा मार्क्स का नहीं आता है. इंटरनेशनल इकोनॉमिक इश्यूज, now here also I would suggest you to read about Asian financial crisis, global financial crisis, US-China trade war from the internet rather than reading it from any particular book. Then for economic survey and budget, read the highlights of economic survey and union budget on PIB. Indian money and financial markets, इसके लिए हम बुक 2 यूज करेंगे, 29, 30, 31, 32, 36 from book 2. Actually this would already be covered if you would have covered your finance syllabus. Role of Indian banks and RBI in the development process, again chapter 21, 22, 27 of book 2. Public finance, chapter 17 and 18 of book 1. Then multiculturalism, demographic trends, urbanization, gender issues and social justice, all these chapters from book 3, that is sociology book, from these respective chapter numbers. You can pause this video and note down these chapter numbers. Now what are the pros of these books? Very good. मतलब अपने आप में सारी बुक्स अच्छी हैं, especially this book and this book, they help you in strong base, helps you in understanding the concepts better, but then they give you low return on your effort, because as I told you, majority of your paper, that is 75% of your paper, is based on current affairs, only 25% is static. So please read these books, but do not try reading them by spending too much time, or do not read them under the assumption कि ये पढ़कर मार्क्स आएंगे. ये पढ़कर अंडरस्टैंडिंग बनेगी, मार्क्स कहाँ से आएंगे? करंट अफेयर्स से. एंड देयर नो एग्जाम टाइप क्वेश्चंस. एग्जाम में मतलब स्टैटिक आते ही नहीं, अगर आते भी हैं तो केस स्टडी बेस्ड या पैराग्राफ बेस्ड आते हैं, जो इसमें नहीं मिलेंगे आपको. ठीक है, तो ये कुछ कॉन्स हैं, बट आप इसको जस्ट एक बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए पढ़िए एंड फोकस मोर ऑन योर करंट अफेयर्स पार्ट. नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू दी ऑब्जेक्टिव करंट. ऑब्जेक्टिव में जो करंट अफेयर्स आते हैं उनके लिए कैसे प्रिपेयर करना है. सो दीज आर द मेजर एरियाज. गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स, रीड फ्रॉम पीआईबी. सो वट एवर गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स आर ऑन न्यूज ऑन पीआईबी, मतलब पीआईबी पे जो भी गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स पे आर्टिकल है, न्यूज़ है, एग्जाम से 5 से 6 महीने पहले, वो गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स आपको पढ़नी है. अभी गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स ज़्यादा नहीं आ रही हैं, बट यू नेवर नो व्हेन कैन दी ट्रेंड चेंज. रिपोर्ट्स, ठीक है, आपके एग्जाम में रिपोर्ट्स भी आती हैं. दे आर बेस्ट रेड फ्रॉम हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर, जो भी उसमें रिपोर्ट्स आ रही हैं उनको कवर कीजिए. Then there are ESI current affairs, that is current affairs related to the topics such as regional economic cooperation, balance of payments and all that. Whatever topics are there in your syllabus, Hindu newspaper. अब उसके अलावा जो स्पेसिफिक चीज़ें हैं करंट अफेयर्स में, जो कि यहाँ पे मेंशन है, जैसे कि इकोनॉमिक सर्वे. ठीक है, तो इकोनॉमिक सर्वे एंड यूनियन बजट, हाईलाइट्स ऑन प्रेस इंफॉर्मेशन ब्यूरो. वर्ल्ड डेवलपमेंट रिपोर्ट, ये वर्ल्ड डेवलपमेंट रिपोर्ट वर्ल्ड बैंक की वेबसाइट पे जाके पढ़िए. वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक आउटलुक, ये चीज़ आईएमएफ की रिपोर्ट है. आरबीआई एनुअल रिपोर्ट यहाँ पे मेंशन्ड है. ठीक है, ऐसी जो भी रिपोर्ट्स यहाँ पे मेंशन्ड है, पुट इट हियर. रिपोर्ट ऑन ट्रेंड्स एंड प्रोग्रेस ऑफ बैंकिंग इन इंडिया, रिपोर्ट्स ऑन करेंसी एंड फाइनेंस, ऑल दिस कैन बी रेड फ्रॉम दी आरबीआई वेबसाइट. अब ये रिपोर्ट्स कौन सी पढ़नी है, गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स कौन सी पढ़नी है, दिस आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू इन दी स्ट्रैटेजी वीडियो लेटर. ठीक है, जब हम ई फॉर ईएसआई की बात करेंगे, उसमें हम इसको डिटेल में डिस्कस करेंगे। तो ये हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव पार्ट का हो गया। नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू दी डिस्क्रिप्टिव पार्ट। डिस्क्रिप्टिव स्टैटिक के अंडर कौन सी सोर्सेज फॉलो करनी है भाई? मतलब सिलेबस सेम है तो सेम ही सोर्सेज पढ़ो जो मैंने बताई हैं। इंडियन इकोनॉमी बाय रमेश सिंह, सोशियोलॉजी बाय शंकर राव, एंड इंडियन इकोनॉमी एंड इंडियन फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम बाय मैकमिलन एजुकेशन। सेम सोर्सेज, नथिंग एल्स टू डू। बट हाँ, करंट अफेयर बेस्ड डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चंस कहाँ से करें उसके लिए अगेन एडिटोरियल्स पढ़ो हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर में, एंड कीप डूइंग द रिपोर्ट्स। विच रिपोर्ट्स? द वंस आई टोल्ड यू हियर, ये सारी। अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट द रिपोर्ट्स, ठीक है, which are not here in this list but are related to your syllabus, such as if there is any report related to gender inequality, urbanization, migration, all these are topics in your syllabus। कोई ऐसी रिपोर्ट है जो हम ऑब्जेक्टिव के लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं, द सेम नीड्स टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर डिस्क्रिप्टिव ऑल्सो। बाकी ये वाली तो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है डिस्क्रिप्टिव के लिए जो मैंने यहाँ पे लिखी है, ठीक है। तो एडिटोरियल्स इन हिंदू एंड रिपोर्ट्स, आई विल शो यू सम क्वेश्चंस। जैसे ये क्वेश्चन आया था, डिस्कस द चैलेंजेस ऑफ यूथ एम्प्लॉयमेंट इन इंडिया। अब यहाँ पे इंडियन एम्प्लॉयमेंट रिपोर्ट आई थी जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट थी, एंड दिस इज रिलेटेड टू योर सिलेबस बिकॉज एम्प्लॉयमेंट इज पार्ट ऑफ योर सिलेबस। तो उसमें से डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन आ गया। दैट इज व्हाट आई से व्हेन आई दैट इज व्हाट आई मीन व्हेन आई से कि रिपोर्ट्स में से डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन आएंगे। फिर ये डिजिटल इनिशिएटिव्स पे क्वेश्चन आया था आपका, ये यूनियन बजट में था। बाकी ये डिजिटल इंडिया इनिशिएटिव आपका करेंसी एंड फाइनेंस रिपोर्ट में भी है। अगर आप देखेंगे यहाँ पे करेंसी एंड फाइनेंस रिपोर्ट में द थीम इज डिजिटल, और ये करेंसी एंड फाइनेंस रिपोर्ट भी यहाँ पे मेंशन्ड है। देखिए, करेंसी एंड फाइनेंस रिपोर्ट एंड यूनियन बजट। तो ये वाली जो रिपोर्ट्स हैं ये तो सारी हैं ही इंपॉर्टेंट, विच आर स्पेसिफिक रिपोर्ट्स। देन रूरल इंडिया needs to give priority to women-led development. Again, this is from economic survey, social and economic empowerment of women. ये economic survey का question है, ठीक है। Again, economic survey I have mentioned here, ठीक है, here. So all these reports I am repeating it again and again. They are very important, but editorials are also equally important, ठीक है। चलिए, नाउ व्हाट टू रीड आउटसाइड दीज बुक्स। क्या ऐसी भी कुछ चीजें हैं जो इन बुक्स न्यूज़पेपर्स में नहीं है? ऐसा कुछ खास नहीं है, बट ऑलवेज रिमेंबर रीडिंग बुक्स इज जस्ट वन पार्ट ऑफ योर प्रिपरेशन। To be able to perform well in your exam, you should always be practicing lot of questions, because that will not only make you exam ready, but that will also help you ready in understanding the time management techniques or managing the anxiety while you're sitting in the exam, and give lot of mock tests for that also। So ये दो चीजें आपको शायद बुक्स में कभी नहीं मिलेंगी, इसके लिए please join a quality test series। So thank you guys, and before I leave I also want to introduce you to this comprehensive RBI Grade B Manager Guide। इस गाइड बुक में आपको आरबीआई के बारे में सारी इंफॉर्मेशन मिलेगी, प्रमोशंस, हायरार्कीज, डिपार्टमेंट, सैलरी, एंड थ्री मेजर थिंग्स दैट यू विल गेट आउट ऑफ दिस गाइड बुक इज, आपको पूरा डिकोडेड सिलेबस मिल जाएगा, आपको प्रीवियस ईयर पेपर्स मिल जाएंगे, ठीक है, और डिकोडेड सिलेबस हो गया, प्रीवियस ईयर पेपर्स हो गए, और आपको आरबीआई के बारे में जो भी पता करना है इस गाइड बुक में आपको मिल जाएगा। और ये गाइड बुक बिल्कुल फ्री है, दिस कैन बी डाउनलोडेड from the link in the description of this video। this is absolutely free, you need not pay even a single penny। और इसको पढ़िए आराम से, बहुत छोटी है, एक दिन में पढ़ी जाएगी। it will give you a lot of clarity and it will also give you a dose of motivation if you are a serious aspirant for RBI Grade B। और ये हमारे कोर्सेज हैं आरबीआई के लिए, गोल्ड पैक एंड सिल्वर पैक। गोल्ड पैक is a holistic pack which is helping you prepare for phase 1 phase 2 interview। Silver pack is mainly for phase 2 and interview, but since phase 1 current affairs overlap with phase 2, तो phase 2 के current affairs आपको phase 1 के लिए भी prepare करा देंगे। बट यहाँ पे quant, reasoning, English and your full length mock test for phase 1 will not be available in the silver pack। and in case you want to check some demo material, आप देखना चाहेंगे हम कैसा पढ़ाते हैं, क्या क्वालिटी है, there is a link in the description of this video, click on that और आप आसानी से जान सकते हैं, देख सकते हैं हमारी क्वालिटी के बारे में, हमारी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिवनेस के बारे में, बिकॉज वी ऑलवेज बिलीव कि हमारे कोर्स के बारे आपको कुछ पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है। तो टेक योर लीव, हैव अ नाइस डे, थैंक यू, बाय बाय, लव यू ऑल।